Hey, this is Natalie from the Freedom Coach podcast, and this is episode number 12. And I'm recording this from Venice Beach, Los Angeles. You can probably hear the waves crashing in the background. So last time I spoke about the dead end that I did with my singles when I started coaching them, and I tried to put up events for singles to help them with self-esteem and body language and communication. But let me backtrace a little bit. So in December I went to making the stage, and then I started the thing with the singles because I figured that would be the next best thing. And then in January I went to Poland. That was a couple of years back, to attend the Sales and Leadership Mastery program of Blair Singer, and that program had a really big impact on me. So I was selling. I have been selling all my life, and when I had the horse business I had to sell horses, of course, but I had no clue about what it is that makes a salesperson good or not, and what the best approach would be, and all of that stuff. So I had no idea. I just did it based on my instincts, and sometimes it turned out okay, and a lot of times it didn't. Otherwise that business would probably still be alive. Maybe wait until the helicopter goes by. So I went to the program, Sales and Leadership Mastery, and it had such a big impact on my business that when I started coaching in April, I went from $500 to $34,000 in 7 months because of the skills that I learned at that program. And because it had such a big impact on me, I decided to bring it to Switzerland a little down the road. And that's a story for another time, what happened there, because I wanted everybody to benefit from this program because it had such a big impact on me, and that was the reason behind me putting it up in Switzerland a couple of years later. So what happened after that program was very interesting, and I got invited by one of my mentors, Alex Mendocian, who said he's going to Milan to have a training there, and if I could come and join him and do a testimonial for him on stage, he would really appreciate that. And I said yes, of course. Milan is only a 3.5 hour drive from where I live. So I went there for the weekend, and I went on stage, and I talked a couple of things, and I wasn't really very good, I remember. I just had no plan. I still had no plan on who to coach, what to teach, and what my mission was. And what was significant about that event was that he asked me on stage, and it wasn't rehearsed or anything, and you didn't talk about this before at all. He asked me, would you like to be one of my coaches? And I said yes. And I don't think I shared this with anybody yet, but this was my first initial kickoff to be a coach, because originally what I learned at Trainer in September was being a trainer, which is conducting workshops with teaching one-to-many, and not being a coach one-to-one. And the lesson here is that these are all clues from the universe or spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, whatever your belief is, that sometimes in life you keep coming across the same topic again and again and again. And it never occurred to me to be a coach. I always just wanted to be a trainer, working in workshops, filling rooms and teaching several people. And Alex on stage asked me, and I said yes, just intuitively. And here's the lesson: when your gut instinct says yes, do it. And I remembered a couple of years prior to that, I was attending one of Jack Canfield's coaching programs, and the coach there said to me, Natalie, you should be a coach. You should teach people. You should coach people. And I was like, nah, that's not me. I don't know enough. I don't know anything. What would I tell people? What would I teach people? And if this sounds familiar to you, I've heard so many of my students say this, especially when they're first starting out. Am I good enough? Am I this? Am I that? Do I have any knowledge to share? And let me just give you sanction right here. You are good enough. You have life experience. And even if you're not 30 or 40 years old yet, even if you're very young and you feel a calling of helping people, there is something in particular and some specific knowledge that you have. So my daughter, for example, she had this issue. She said, I'm only 20 or 21, 22, 23, whatever she was at that time. And what can I teach people? What can I help people with? And we found several things that she could help people with. So one was teaching people how to do fearless English without any fear, learn English. Another one was energy management. She's a great energy manager, and she learned a lot of things at the seminar she took, and she can teach that to other people. So you only need to be a couple of steps ahead of your students. You don't have to coach the Bill Gates and the Donald Trumps of this world, the ones that are really, really high up. You coach people that know less than you do, and you can help with what you know. So a couple lessons here. First of all, when your gut instinct tells you something and something keeps crossing your path, take a closer look, because that might be a sign. And even if this sounds a little strange to you, it's true. And I encourage you to take a closer look at things that keep popping up in your life, reoccurring subjects. And the second thing is that you're good enough. You are good enough. So I started coaching for Alex, and I had a lot of lessons, I had a lot of learning, and this is how I initiated my coaching career. And a couple of years later, I have a really, really successful coaching business. So I'm not telling you this to show off. I'm telling you this to show you and to tell you that it's totally possible, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. My name now is Sabina Dahl from Venice Beach, California, Los Angeles. And until I hear you again, this is the Freedom Coach Podcast, and that's why I'm saying to you, till we hear each other again, be free.